Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist, humanist, philosopher, and prehistorical writer-researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument driven apatheism, ignosticism, atheism, anti-theism, anti-religionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheists can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudohistory, pseudomorality, things that are found in religion. I support realism, axiology, of course, liberty, justice, ethics. I am also an anarchist socialist. I support anarchism and socialism, progressivism, liberalism, philosophy, psychology, archaeology, and anthropology, advocating for sexual, gender, child, secular, LGBTQIA+, race, class rights, and equality. So if you can guess from all that, I support or challenge that I have an eclectic variety of videos on a variety of topics. Please take time to check them out, as well as if you enjoy them, please give them a like. And don't forget to subscribe, as new things are on their way all the time for my channel.
Okay, so, and do I have your verbal permission to record you today and to use this file, this recording in our online course?
Yes, you may use this file from me, in my words, in any way that you see fit, whether written or video or whatever. I totally support that and what you're doing.
Okay, thank you so much. So first off, let me just say thank you so much for joining me today. And can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Hi, I am Damien Marie AtHope, and my name already starts the issue with my life. My name, every part of it is self-chosen. No part of it was original from my family, which I don't feel very connected to my family. I'll get into that. So my name, Damien Marie. So the Marie is the real issue for most people because it's the only part of my name that's female or perceived as female. And that was actually the thing that caused a problem with my mom and actually got me to understand more about my family's opinion about my status of my gender. So I did not know all my life, right? I knew something was different about me. How I felt was definitely different. I never felt connected to men and males, and I'm always perceived as male. And I would play with myself so much that the school called and said I was playing with myself, and my parents thought it was sexual. And so that was the first time, actually, I didn't even think of being embarrassed in that way, being sexual in front of people, because I was actually alone. I didn't feel connected to people. And so they said I was playing with myself. And at first I thought someone was like making something up, right? Just a whole bunch of different things in my life. But so they said, I thought someone was making something up, I didn't really know anybody. So I thought, who even knows to even talk about me? And my parents, were saying, well, you know how you are and you're different. And I always felt like they were saying it, like, not like how, like, see, you said Damien is different, my beard is different. You're saying it with like care and love, not with shame and like, indignation that I need to not be this. And I always felt odd because I never felt like I was doing anything. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, to me, it feels like how a sexism is. A woman hasn't done anything, but yet somehow just because she doesn't possess genitalia that's a man, she's somehow different. Her whole life never can get outside of this and has never done anything to, in a sense, be different. And that's how I felt. And I didn't realize that it was actually more about my gender. I just thought that maybe it was just me. I didn't know. I felt it was strange. I just didn't know. So going back to my gender. So at like, I don't know what age, but maybe 9, 10, I'm not sure. I remember talking to my mom because my penis has a scar on the bottom. And I was like, how did that happen? And my mom said, oh, well, it was a mistake in the doctors and stuff. And so they didn't, I tried to ask, wouldn't explain it. And so what it is I'm intersex. And that's one of the things. I have several things. That's just one of the things. I had an opening at the bottom of my penis, like a vagina, close or whatever. Because everyone starts out, which people don't realize, that everyone kind of starts out with the default, an X. An X by itself will produce women. That's it. Well, nothing else. It produces women. That's all it does. So every man, in a sense, is an X, and then it has a Y. Well, the Y, actually, people don't understand, that I learned later in school, is the Y, actually, the first thing that it does is it has to stop female. That's the first thing. So there's anti-feminizing androgens. They have to, otherwise you get female. If these things don't turn on, you're going to have intersex or you're going to have female. You cannot end up with a man if they don't do their work. So there's 3 processes actually to end up with a man. So first it's anti-feminizing, because you got to stop that X. Nope, no more female. You got to tell the body and the mind and whatever. Then the next one is masculizing androgens. Now you have to turn this thing that does not want to be a male into a male. So now it's doing stuff to turn it into a male. Both these things have to work in a sense to equal amounts to produce what people think of as a normal male. Because if they do not.
Let me ask you something. Can you stabilize your camera? Because it's moving as you talk.
Sorry.
That's okay. All right, so that's the second thing that happens. You're saying
so it has to start masculizing. It has to start making that before female standard now more male. And if that doesn't happen correctly, of course, then you're going to end up with intersex or something that looks or is sort of female. And to me, then the next one is you have to have this testosterone. And testosterone also helps do all these things that produce a male. So if any of that stuff, and I have lower testosterone, one of the things you could tell is the fingers. I was told that the finger of the second to the pinky should be in most men like higher than your pointer finger. Mine is not. That almost indicative of females. And this doesn't mean about your gender. This has to do with it actually did think about it. Doesn't have to do with your sex. It has to do with your little more. The testosterone part. Testosterone seems to make certain thinking behaviors or whatever that coincide with testosterone. So if you get low, like me, you get low testosterone, you have generally a smaller genitals as a male. You also have different, like usually you're more emotional and less aggressive. Well, I'm also very aggressive, but it's actually because of abuse. But so all these things have to happen. I didn't know this, and I wasn't taught, like you said about nurses. I wasn't taught this in school, that the standard is female and everything else is intersex until you get male. I mean, so there's a lot of intersex people that don't even know they're intersex. They think I'm normal, I'm whatever, because they somewhat can pass. Actually, they're not, and probably for a lot of different. So I feel like
I think there's a big confusion around intersex, and I think that, well, for us in most of our colleges and universities, we're not really taught about this, which is why I'm so happy to have you here today. And I know that a lot of times when a child is born visibly intersex, the surgeon or the parents get together and decide what the gender of the patient is, what the baby is going to be. And I remember this happened in my family, and I was very, very small, but I hear the stories, and it was just like this person was odd, there was something wrong with them,
Yeah.
Just all these kind of things. And a lot of times intersex people don't discover that they're intersex until they try to conceive. I just had a person reach out to me on LinkedIn, and she did a scan of her daughter's abdominal area and discovered that her born daughter, assigned female at birth, has no uterus or ovaries.
Right, intersex.
Yes. So tell me I'd love to know how healthcare delivery has been.
I would say the first off, healthcare with yours, that's what, because even when you were talking, you started, I almost interrupted you because you brought up the issue that I think is a really important issue. And I'm going to go back to it because I just remembered it now.
Okay.
Because sometimes when people talk, I forget my ideas. So when you said assigned at birth, see, that is the problem right there.
Okay. Tell me more.
Is there only male and female?
No, there's not.
Right. So when we assign, what are you assigning?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're starting with an error. You can't end up with equal to something good when you start with the problem as an error. The problem starts with error. There is no, and never has been in the history of the fucking world. Sorry to curse, but no history of the world. Look, it just really irritates me.
Yes.
The history of the world, has there ever been just male and female? Seriously. In fact, there is a 22,000-year-old intersex thing that looks almost like my body. Besides, I'm now fat, but I mean, genital-wise, that looks like someone took an art of my genitals. And they call that hermaphrodite. Like, oh, look at this hermaphrodite. It's half man, half woman. Like, oh, well, then you're talking about me. Because that is me. But yet, if I tell people, oh, yeah, that's me, they go, well, I don't know. I think you're just a man. You're just confused. I'm like, yeah, it was my body. And in fact, speaking about my not being confused about my body, you're looking that different. So different that anyone that sees me would immediately know what the heck is different with my genitals, because it looks like I have testicles and no penis, not a head, not nothing. It looks like a little wrinkle. Inside there is my penis, but you can't see it. Mm-hmm. And that's what it looks like on that figure. They thought the figure has testicles but no scrotum. Maybe they drew it wrong. I'm thinking intersex. That's exactly what mine looks like. It looks like I have physical. So this is a shame thing. My entire life.
Yes.
Now imagine how often boys say big penis, small penis. Imagine when it looks like you have zero penis. So I would never take off my clothes in gym. In fact, I got an F in gym because I would not take off my clothes in front. They shaming everything and wanted me to explain in front of everybody why I don't want to do it. I just, don't want to mix it. I don't want to have people pick on me for not having a penis. And I don't understand why kids have to be naked in front of other kids in the first place. How that is forced to be a person. But let's just say it happened, right? if I'm going to be naked with no penis and they're going to start picking on me, is the whole school going to protect me and start teaching people about intersex people?
No.
Please.
Yeah.
You know that ain't going to happen. That's like this one person tried to tell me about how much he hates gays. And I said, I'm not gay. And then he said, well, yeah, you're with a woman. I said, actually, I could probably be with a man too, and maybe I still wouldn't be gay because I'm not male. You're not getting. I'm not different male. I am not a male from birth. Not like I decided I didn't want to be this. In fact, trust me, I would have either chosen to just be a woman or just be a male. I would even be fine to probably even just be trans because I feel like intersex, everyone feels like I'm a liar. Everyone says I must be trans because if I feel gender, or I must just be a male faking it, or I maybe it's like I can't be in the gay community because I'm not gay. I mean, but my feelings as far as sexual kind of is gay in a sense, but toward it, how it feels. I'm just saying. I don't like blowjobs. I don't really like things. I like to lick women. I'm not trying to be sexual graphic. I'm just trying to explain my thinking, how it feels. I feel more like lesbian, but my feminine side feels like a radical, like in the streets, burning bras, just radical. But I also feel, because I don't feel just male, I feel actually two people inside what it feels like, but it feels meshed. Like not like clean, oh male, no, it's like all over the place. But I feel like this barbaric male that just doesn't it doesn't care. It's like base. It's want to hurt, never rape, pillage. It just does. I feel but I know that even if I had two, they may not have been this extreme both, because I also went through extreme child abuse. And I now know a lot of it is because of me being intersex. I always wondered why, my whole life, man. It was fucking sad. They never let me, they're like, by the way, fundamentalist Christians. Not saying that even fundamentalist Christians have to be bad, but my parents personally, when it comes to gay and anything like that, was you might as well have sex with animals. I mean, or worse, kill people. I mean, it's horrid to them. And so they always were telling me I was too dramatic because I was just being me. I always thought that was weird when they would say that. I didn't understand. I was like, what? I'm not being dramatic. Because I'd wear pink or I do this. I remember the first time I wore a pink shirt. Oh, I loved it. I wore pink for 3 days. And then they're like, dude, boys can't wear pink. And I'm like, yeah, but I wear pink. I'm a boy. I mean, I didn't understand. But at the time, too, I didn't, I wasn't taught, hey, you could be a different gender. Or hey, you're intersex, you may feel like all over the place, androgynous or whatever, just because my gender feels like it's a mesh, like I said, like sometimes so it's real hard for me also. I feel like I don't relate to people. I want to have, romantic, like my wife is, by the way, I'm not out of my wife is bisexual and we're in a poly relationship and have had sex with other people. My point is I'm just wanted to make a comment. I like romantic threesomes. I'm just saying weird things that someone else would think is. So for me, it's not so much just the sex. It's I'd like to go eat and talk, and I feel romantic. I mean, I'm just saying how I approach things, even if it looks like I'm doing a normal guy thing. That's not really always normal guy thing. And I've had a lot of problems where but I didn't understand like who I was before. I would try to date really heterosexual girls that were, or cis women that were, religious or whatever, and I would act to them gay or whatever. I would act, I like plays and poetry and, I hate football. I don't even know how to play it. I've never actually played it in my life. I don't ride motorcycles. Everyone thinks I do. Everyone gets confused at who I am. And what I hate is it's like I have to then undo your perceived bias of who I am. I feel like it's so unfair that I have to somehow unlive up to what you expected, or you feel, and I've been told this, not you personally, I've been told this by other people, that I'm a liar because who I project like outside is not who I am inside. And I'm like, wrong. I'm both. And that is why it's confusing to you, because you want, it reminds me of like people like in the earlier part of the gay and lesbian liberation stuff. It wasn't really also about bisexual and trans, even though of course they started with that. But so they were leaving somebody out. And the point is that I'm not saying that everyone did this, but it was said that bisexual people needed to choose.
They still say that. They still say that.
Well, yeah. Why not? I don't hang out in LGBT communities because I don't feel super connected to them. So I don't. I mean, I like them. I'm not against them, but I don't. There's not as many people like me, and I feel like they tolerate me more than like celebrate Damien's here, sort of.
Okay, so let's get into. I want to know. This is all very interesting and very eye-opening. So I really appreciate your candor and just transparency. I want to get into what it's like for you to receive healthcare. So I'd love to know.
Oh, healthcare is how I found out about being intersex.
Yes. Okay. So I'd love to know that story and how you found out about being intersex. Tell me that.
So I was, I think, 23 or something, and I was a truck driver, and one of my other truck drivers said that he went to the doctor, he had too much testosterone. So because he had too much testosterone, he was being more aggressive. So they gave him stuff to lower his testosterone. And I thought, he said he's real sexual and real violent. I thought, I'm kind of sexual and I can get angry. So I thought, well, maybe I'm violent. Maybe it's just testosterone. Maybe I'm, I'm uber male, delusional in that sense. Because if I looked at my life, really, was I uber male? No. So why would I even think that that would have been correct? But I think there's like internal intersex phobia for say, or homophobia or whatever you want to, whatever. There's something inside that made me not want to acknowledge that I really wasn't that. So I go to the doctor and they test my testosterone and he goes, yeah, that's not it. And I said, oh, what is it? And then he goes, well, you have lower testosterone right now than most women. I'm telling you, it would be like somebody told me that I was dead. I mean, I was at the time, I was a religious Christian. I'm an atheist now. I was religious Christian and still had the upbringing of my family that homosexuality and all this was bad. I hated homosexuals, thought they were terrible. I seriously, because I didn't understand, and I was taught bigotry from my family, not. So, but when he said that, I feel like I think doctors, nurses, anybody should be, you're telling someone about their gender for the first time, or even mentioning their gender, even if it wasn't the first time, talking to me in a way that was not respectful. I feel like he was making fun of me, like, ha, you don't know this. But just the way, so I felt really low and bad because I went there thinking I was uber male, and he just told me the exact opposite, that I have less testosterone than the general population of women. And he goes, actually, I would give you testosterone right now. He goes, but you said you were coming in here because you felt sexual. So I don't know. He goes, maybe it has to do with you being intersex. And I go, what do you mean intersex? I never said it was intersex. What is that, like a problem? I have something? And he's like, no, he's just laughing. This is like, once again, about how you should be treated medically. Laughing at me because I don't know this? I mean.
Well, how would you know?
Well, you just think, does the general population, even if I wasn't, does the general population know a lot about intersex? Like, no, nothing. So I'm just saying, I felt really, and I didn't even know what to say. I was like ashamed, He's like, you're intersex, and he's like laughing. You don't know this shit. No, that's that part that your parents knew this, and then I was like, I wasn't told that. And he's like, oh, come on, blah blah. And he said a couple things because I was naked, which is another thing. Talking to me while I'm naked and laughing. It's just, the whole thing was just, I felt abusive. And so I think that, medical people have it, just like a counselor, I feel an ethical duty to not harm the client.
We do. You're absolutely
And emotion psychological is a massive part of the client, not just physical body parts. but emotional body parts. I mean, emotional,
So
areas
what
of
did
the
you
mind.
do after that? Like when he
I was
told you
dumbfounded. I
this?
felt shamed. I felt naked. I felt like someone ripped my clothes off. I mean,
Mhm.
I walked outside and felt I need to forget this as soon as possible. That's what so I didn't think of. I was like, and then I just was like, I don't know. I didn't want to look into it. I just forgot about it. So I
And
tried.
did you bring that up to your parents again at that
No,
time?
I didn't want to talk about shame.
Okay.
I'm telling. I didn't want to tell anybody. I wanted to stop my own mind from remembering that I was just told this. So I tried to forget. I'm different, and everyone kept saying this one woman said to me, "I want to break up with you," like 2 weeks after dating me. She goes, "It's like dating a woman." And I go, "I don't know, what am I supposed to do as a man? Punch you? I don't even know what that means to be a man." But I didn't realize, if I would have known I was intersex, I would have known immediately. When she said that, yeah, I get it. I didn't get it though. So I feel like, beyond the fact that I should have known about my own body, I feel like doctors, how is any doctor that I went to never said, "Oh, by the way, you're intersex"? I mean, how is this not in my medical file? Why does it just say male? This is that I feel also is a violation. Why? I am not. They know this. They did surgery on me. There's document somewhere. Why in the heck is I labeled as only man? I mean, and then, because just think, is that not my medical history? How does a client, right, as a person that goes into a hospital, not have a right to their medical history? I mean, the fact you're hiding my medical history from me, how is that ethical? Including, okay, so even if you did it as a child, you're saying as an adult, it's still hidden? I mean, I just, like, it goes back to the thing of assigning at birth, male or female. It already starts with an error.
Yeah.
Already starts with that there's only been, so to me, there's trans people. Absolutely, I agree with this. I understand that how you make a man, that's why, to me, it makes more sense. There's actually, they've done studies on intersex. There's more, can't remember which one it was, but it's something like 1 in every 5,000 men has a gender variance, and 1 in every 1,000 women. So it happens. That's why I heard one guy goes, "Oh, why does it always seem like all guys, so many trans, guys, trans women, they transition from male at birth, assigned at birth." So the fact that they're like, "Oh, why is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's not really wild, because to me, understanding intersex, that seems like probably what's normal." That there's more, because like I said about how much the gender varies. So there's more common. So I feel like that's what I was saying about, like you asked about the doctors. Doctors, to me, and nurses should know that how common this is. And that also should be immediately that how are we totally assigning at birth? All the stuff. I mean,
And have you been able to locate that in your records at all?
No, I have not. But a lot. I know it's Long Beach Memorial Hospital. I mean, in California. I mean, I suppose if I spent a lot, I'm not going to spend a lot of money. I could probably hire an investigator and find stuff. But why should I have to? Seriously, I shouldn't have to do that. It's, my body. It should be. I'm just saying the whole thinking. But I understand the problem also is, let's just say that they're cutting on me or whatever without my consent, and then not telling me was okay, which none of it to me is. They are trying to fix me being intersex, and you and I both know that cannot happen. No more can you fix someone being homosexual. I am intersex. I am not just a male. My mind does not think that way. I was somehow not totally, meshed, and that's how I feel.
But you're not broken.
No, I don't feel like I'm broken.
There's nothing to be fixed. It's just who you are. Society always wants to put us into these binary boxes, and our EMRs, our electronic medical records, are binary, and there's not space for trans women, trans men, intersex, things are changing. We're hoping to change a lot of this and open people's eyes with this information. What is healthcare delivery like for you now, today? Like, if you get sick, would you go to a urgent center, or tell me, like, what is it like?
I have, and then people are make comments. Have doctors, not all the time, but have, can you reproduce, or can you have sex with your wife? I'm like, yeah. When I am turned on, my penis grows to 5 inches outside of my body. When it is not hard, it looks like 0. Maybe that's magic, I don't know. But my body is different because I am intersex, so it doesn't operate exactly like everybody else's. In fact, my scrotum and penis can push up inside of my body with 0 pain. The whole thing, disappear. So I don't know if there's open cavity like a pseudo vagina, or a uterus or so. I don't know. Obviously, something didn't close. I did. No. In fact, it reminded me when I was younger, I got in a lot of fights, and a few times, like 2 or 3 times, people tried to kick me in the groin. Yeah, but it just pushes it up inside of me, so it's not that bad. So my point is that them seeing that, that's not normal. They're like, But I also feel like even doctors, I have to almost prove I am intersex before they'll accept, or nurses, that I am. Like, I just can't tell people, hey, this is me, and then go, okay, Damien, I'll respect that.
So do you have like a primary care provider now? Do you have like a nurse practitioner or something like that you seek your health care from?
Yeah, but I don't. It doesn't really involve my genitals. I don't.
And so do they know you're intersex?
No.
Okay.
They don't ask, and I don't go out of my way to tell people. Because to me, it's kind of, I still feel ashamed. This doesn't feel, and also then I got to explain people, and then I got to defend it. I feel like,
And is it also because you think that they're not going to know or understand how to provide care to you?
Well, and that's the other thing too. I asked, look, breast cancer runs in my family, and I have like pseudo breasts. I have women nipples. They're huge. They look like women's nipples. And I have breasts always stick out. In fact, I always had look like I, juicy pecs or something. And everyone's like, man, you must work out. I'm like, I never do. It was actually just breasts. Or, the half breasts, we don't call it pseudo breasts or something. Anyways, but so I have said, and then the one doctor did a breast exam and goes, I could see where, that maybe, that could be a thing. And I decided worried about it because I want to, I have my grandma removed both her breasts. My mom, had breast cancer. My other aunt had breast cancer. And I just was wondering, do I need to get checked too? Because I know even ones that are maybe don't know they're intersex or whatever, I know that there's some men who get breast cancer. Mm-hmm. So I was just worried, and I felt like they would laugh, like, of course not. You're male. And I, in fact, one doctor, she said, look at your facial hair. You don't have to worry about that. And I thought, right, my facial hair. Did you ask me that it didn't come in until I was 28? So a whole life I was had almost no facial hair, and then finally it started because my body turned on. There's this thing in intersex, which I told the doctor, how am I not this? Well, someone has to assign that to you for you to be that. I go, oh, really? So I can't just read all the things and be all of what it says. And then that be me. There's this one, I can't remember what it's called exactly. It's like XY woman or something, where you're a male woman. It's an intersex thing. I was like, because I read the stuff and I'm like, sounds a lot like who I am. It says there's a delay in sexual growth and stuff. I totally had that. And then a delay in puberty. And then when it comes on super strong. Like it's making up for lost time. And the same thing, I grew 9.5 inches in one summer, 2.5 months. I grew 9.5 inches.
Wow.
And it goes with the intersex growth spurt, or it's like it's like your body doesn't turn on the stuff the same way, and then all of a sudden it turns it on like all at once or whatever. It doesn't. In fact, there's some intersex conditions in two places. I think India and Chile or something. I'm not totally sure, but I'm sure the condition. I just can't remember if that's exactly the places, but I believe it's India and somewhere. But there's where these. I think it's 12 or 13 or something. That a lot of these people they're raised as a boy, and then at 13 they grow breasts and they basically turn into a female, intersex wise. They transition into female because their body told them, hey, guess what, we want to do that now. And that's a rare condition, but that goes back to when people say, oh, you can't change after birth. Well, that's not true. It's not normal to, but it does happen.
So tell me, for people who are listening, what you would like to see and experience when you go to seek healthcare. What would make you feel?
Well, it would be nice that if they asked me if I, feel that my gender or anything about it is different than what is, assigned at birth. I think they should ask everybody that. Because I think there's a lot of people too, even like, let's say that I was born male. There's a lot of variations, because there's people that can call themselves or are a cis male, and there's all over the gamut from, more feminine to super male. I mean, so I don't even feel that it's totally accurate even to label someone a male and female.
So it's like ask you how you identify?
Or how you experience. I think that it would be good for you to know, right? If you have this opinion of me, I'm this biker dude, I'm this tough male, and I do football probably, and blah blah. And then I like plays and poetry, and you're like, whoa, that's like totally. So the who you're actually helping is different than who you thought you were helping. Do you get my point? You should know who you're really helping. You'll help them in a sense more effectively if you know. It's like a counselor. If I never asked you about your childhood as a counselor, would you think I was a good counselor? Never asked you. And I want to deal with issues that I see are reoccurring. One of the things in counseling, I call it the shotgun effect. Whatever starts here, as it starts invading all of your life, then I know it was a long time ago. So if you have behaviors now that are destructive for you and you can't change, and they seem to be not in one area, but like all over the place, then I know that must be further back, because something originated, and then as it became part of your life, it just starts, evading into everywhere. So it is important to ask. So because it's important to understand the person. It's like when someone says, you see some picture of someone, we already think, people with me, they already think I'm big, I'm stupid, probably like football and whatever, a biker or something. And none of that's true. So I feel like that the first thing that a counselor should do ethically, and a care provider of any kind, including in a hospital setting, we should start as much as possible with removing the bias. And for me, the only way I'm a philosopher and I think about things. For me, what I found to make that possible for me, because I am not outside of being human, is I try to view everybody by their worth as a dignity being. So I just start with your value.
So you try to view
and then I let you decide whatever else.
Did you say I try to identify everybody as their worth and dignity? Is that what you said?
Yeah, their dignity, that their worth, that they are a human, they deserve respect and dignity. I just try to start with that.
Mm-hmm. That's a good place to start.
Because it allows me to then let them fill in the blanks. Mm-hmm. I don't start with it. I know who you are. Even if you said your name, even if you gave me your bio, do I really know who you are? And to me, when you're in a setting that's counseling or a care providing nurse, doctor, to me, it's a private thing, right? So generally people are going to say way more. So the person listening needs to be way more respectful, because that person's going to open up way more. So they're becoming more vulnerable. It is done upon you, the care provider. I have a degree in psychology. I was going to go into mental health counseling, and I know that it's the ethical environment that we create that makes everything else healthy. Because to me, I think that when my mentality, obviously with the psychology background, is to see the whole person, not just the external physical body, because the physical body is massively, connected to the emotional body. The emotional body can decide to die. The body's going to die for what other reason, even if the person just stops eating food or, just stops caring for themselves. It really matters. Emotions are our whole world. We experience, in fact, to me, we experience the world phenomenologically, which is the experience of things. Like when you see a painting, you don't see colors of paint on a flat thing. You see the picture. In other words, the three-dimensional or emotional representation of whatever it is. You see blue and stuff, you think water. There's no water, it's just blue. But we experience the world. So this is very important to understand. When people say words don't hurt, that's vastly wrong. They absolutely are everything. Every single word. If we're just like I was saying about dignity being, if I have this dignity being in front of me, even if they're acting out, have their dignity being status changed? No. That's why even I can deal with people. I've had people tell me F you and all this, and not always am I good at it, but I have before calmly worked them right out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Until where they, like I had this one blog that I showed, the person's telling me F you and this, and I said, why should I be said that? What did I do that? And I just sit there and reason with them and removed all the bias. What did I do? What did I do? And basically got to the point, which I like to do is to get people to think. And so I would say that what do people need to do when it comes to caring for people in any environment, including medical, is you need to think and care. And to me, there's already a thing that's called care ethics, which to me, probably a lot of people in care providers are kind of doing it just by osmosis, even if they didn't understand the philosophy. Because it's really about understanding both the other person and our own responsibility. That there's not this neutral. Like if somebody is in a position of weakness and I hurt them, it's not the same as there's a person not in the position of weakness and I hurt them. The person in the position of weakness, I've done a graver harm. I've harmed the weak, which is to me even lower. I'm not saying we should be harming anybody, but certainly that's even worse. And so to me, I think that when we see that we are responsible, that our care, I feel, should be different. If I'm responsible for how I am interacting, like with you right now, and you're doing attentive listening or active listening, where you're nodding your head and you're showing me that you're grasping by your eyes or your movements, this shows you care, and also giving me the time. I told you before, I felt like as an intersex person, people, when I say intersex, they didn't want to hear it. They don't want to understand. So it's not that people can't understand. They don't even want to. But that goes back to dignity being. But is that how you would act to a dignity being? What does a good person do with a dignity being? It just because to me it's reminding my. And there's the other thing too. You're going to make a mistake.
Yes.
100%. I will make a mistake. 100% time. We need to remember that, because then when we make a mistake, don't defend yourself. In a care environment, what is important is the dignity being, not you. You are providing the care. Don't defend yourself. I'm talking about with the client. I'm not talking about if someone tries to come after you. I'm just saying, in other words, what I mean is, let me try to make it more understandable. So if I said that I am a he, and I'm intersex, and you decide you're going to call me they, Is that respecting me as a dignity being? And see, so, and then the person not wanting to understand is then another violation. Both to me or to whatever, because I've had people, and seriously, they think they're, I guess, somehow making it okay. They're like, Damien, I don't need to hear about you intersex or genderqueer, whatever you're saying, you know, I just like you. Yeah, actually, you don't. You can't say I like you as you deny who I am, especially if I've respected you enough to expose myself and tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's another thing is that when someone tells you, like that guy laughing, the doctor, what the hell, man? When someone does tell you, especially if you don't understand, that's when you should make it about them, not about you not understanding. Well, I don't understand, so, you know, it's confusing. Who cares about you? Are you the victim? Who's the one that's the oppressed? You or them? If your attitude is, I don't understand and I feel, you know, like I have a right to be angry about it, you don't have a right to be angry, in a sense, like that person, you know, or laughing, or the woman saying that I look too male with my beard to, I can't possibly, you know, need a breast exam. It's that kind of stuff. How are these people telling me about my body? How disrespectful. Even if you didn't agree, let's just say you didn't agree. How could you handle it in a way with an intersex person that's different? You can say, okay, I hear you. If that's what you feel, then we can see about setting it up. I mean, is getting a breast exam going to be the end of the world for you? I mean, I don't understand why she's even fighting me over this. Like,
Yeah, I understand what
let's
you're
just
saying.
say that she does the exam and realizes, you know, maybe Damien, you don't need anymore. Okay, now we know that. Wouldn't that have been more healthy for everybody?
So we're going to wrap up, but I want to know if there's one more thing you'd like to share before we end this really interesting conversation today. And I can't thank you enough. I think you are going to shed a lot of light for the people who are listening today, and really think about our healthcare professionals have bias. I mean, everybody does, but we do. And I think you've really opened our eyes to a lot of things today. So is there one last thing you'd like to share before we end?
Going back to the dignity being thing.
Are you saying dignity be or
Being.
dignity being? Okay, got you.
Being like a person, whatever. But let me just explain that. So when I say dignity being, I mean something that has an emotional mind, understands its feelings, and can feel pain. Anything that does that to me is a dignity being, deserving my care, my understanding, my management, and how I behave, period, my respect. So I see it beyond humans. I see animals deserve to be treated. They have feelings, they hurt, I should be, I'm not limiting it to humans, although I have a preference, obviously, for humans. So, but it shouldn't matter though. You should be in a position of power, then you are in a position of responsibility. And part of that responsibility to me as a care provider is to endlessly be part of healthy care. And so I think sometimes we want to have the answers for everything. And sometimes, like you're doing now, people just need to be heard. We don't have to, I feel like that we want to solve or fix, and just like an intersex, you can't fix what's wrong in the sense if they felt what's wrong. You can't fix what's wrong with me. No counseling is going to change my biology. But even if it could, wouldn't it be still my choice? Shouldn't you be supportive of my choice? Aren't you helping the whole person? And if the whole person says, I need to feel this way or be this way or I am this way, then to me, it should be as a care provider that is what matters, not my feelings, not my bias. And I could have 10,000 bias. In fact, like being an atheist, some people like can't understand how I can have religious friends. And I said, yeah, because no religious people have religious friends of other religions. And they go, well, a lot of them do. Yeah, so do I. What's the difference? I mean, it's because you know what? What do I really care about? I care about good people. I care about dignity beings and people that care about other people that are dignity beings. I like good people. When I say good people, you do no harm and you do actively help. That's a good person to me. If you don't do both those, to me, that's not a good person. You're just a non-harmful person. If you
And that
just
as
don't.
healthcare providers, that's what we are obligated to do. So I really appreciate you being with us today, Damien. This has been
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you so, so much. Until next time, everyone, I'll see you in the next module.
Bye.
All right, I'm going to stop recording.
Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist, humanist, philosopher, and prehistorical writer-researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument driven apatheism, Ignosticism, atheism, anti-theism, anti-religionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheist can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudo-history, pseudo-morality, things that are found in religion. I support realism, axiology, of course, liberty, justice, ethics. I am also an anarchist socialist. I support anarchism and socialism, progressivism, liberalism, philosophy, psychology, archaeology, and anthropology, advocating for sexual, gender, child, secular, LGBTQIA+, race, class rights, and equality. So if you can guess from all that, I support or challenge that I have an eclectic variety of videos on a variety of topics. Please take time to check them out, as well as if you enjoy them, please give them a like. And don't forget to subscribe, as new things are on their way all the time for my channel.